It was pretty difficult not to notice the amount of discomfort that people were feeling with the changes to the insect glaive. But to be honest, I can't say I relate to that. We know that Capcom has paid attention to the community, giving them back the iconic aerial bounce, which is great. It's greatly welcomed. Yet there are still things that I want to discuss. In my opinion, Glaive in Wilds is probably one of the best iterations that there is, ruling out the Sunbreak version, since I only played Chargeblade on that title. I wanted to make a case for the insect Glaive in Wilds, and I really think this version has so many positive changes that are full of potential. After asking some people on Reddit about their feelings on the weapon so I could get some inspiration to make this video, I started thinking that maybe could it be that people have quite different and sometimes divided perspectives on what this weapon is? On what is the identity of the insect glaive? Some people say that it's a flying weapon, others that it is the mounting weapon. Usually people will attribute Glaive's identity with its ability to do constant jumping attacks. But I've never thought of it that way. I want to talk about why the changes are a good thing in my opinion, but also about what I think is the fantasy, the identity of the insect glaive, something that I started visualizing after watching the speedrunner Canta per me. So, let's start with the changes. One of the biggest complaints that people have is the fact that you cannot unlock the full moveset of the glaive with only red extract. I think this is a valid concern, but I couldn't really feel the impact of this change because now almost everything you do can get you almost full extracts. My biggest issue with Glaive in general, in World, although not something that bothers me too much to be honest, is that sooner or later you have to do the extract minigame. The time you spend getting the extracts feels completely separated from the time you spent fighting the monsters, and if you're not very good at aiming or if you're facing a monster with very small hitboxes for red extract, it can get a bit annoying, you know? In Wilds, you have so many options. The regular way, like how you did it in World, Kinsect charge, Kinsect focus attacks, and Glaive focus attacks. Usually, you can get 2 to 3 extracts per charge Kinsect, and when you don't get all of them, you can just use a Kinsect focus attack to get the last one on a specific part of the monster. Being able to do melee attacks to get extracts is so much reliable than aiming, especially if you play with a controller. And I feel like people have not really considered this, but in the beta, we only had the basic Kinsect. And yet, it was so easy to get full extracts consistently. On top of that, when you do use a focus attack on a wound, you get full extracts every time. These are all great options. In my opinion, these new options not only improve your experience by helping you get ready to fight the monster quicker, but I believe it will also bring a level of player expression to the Kinsects. Because what have we been doing in Iceborne? Just choose the fastest Kinsect. Don't worry about the damage type, don't worry about the looks, don't worry about anything but how fast is the Kinsect. If the Kinsects will have progression trees like in World, with these new options, you can choose whatever the hell you want without having to rely so heavily on this single stat. In the end, I can completely accept a trade-off where you lose the full moveset only with red extract, but in exchange, you get so many more options, and a lot more effective too, to get full extracts. Believe it or not, this will add a layer of complexity that some people might not like, but that will give you the chance to strategize a bit more during your hunts. You can start every hunt by finding a good angle to get a good charge Kinsect. That will give you full extracts. You can do a mount attack and leave so many wounds open during the mounting minigame, which you can use to reload your extracts as the hunt goes on. You can even do focus attacks mid-air too, which by the way, is something that offers one of the best interactions I've seen in Glaive's gameplay. I'll show it to you later. The other complaint I've seen is that the Glaive's basic combo is like ruined now. I don't really understand how this can be the case. In Iceborne, your strongest combo was vertical slash into roundhouse slash. The only way to spam this combo was by doing a dodge cancel after every roundhouse. But you can literally just loop it now. You can just stand there hitting triangle circle forever. I've seen that some people say this won't be as important because with the coming of charge moves and rising spiral slash, you don't need these moves anymore. But I mean, come on, has Monster Hunter ever been this one-dimensional? I've seen people say that the Glaive is the new Charge Blade, but worse. I understand that they now share a similar builder-spender type of gameplay, but go ahead and try spamming this one big commitment move all the time during a hunt and see how far it takes you. I don't like the argument that Rising Spiral Slash is going to make the rest of the weapon obsolete. It is a very reductionist argument, because it disregards all the little interactions that you can have during a fight. Poking, dodging, repositioning, punishing, etc. And this also disregards the nuance that you can have in some fights, because Rising Spiral Slash has a very vertical and spread hitbox. Sometimes it can feel all over the place, and it doesn't work very well with monsters that are not very tall. What happens if you need to break a leg? Sever a tail. Aren't Vertical Slash and Roundhouse Slash great tools to precisely aim at different parts of the monster, especially when breaking those parts can give you the advantage? The new charge moves are also great. You can intertwine them in almost all of your other moves. You can do Vertical Slash into Roundhouse Slash, into a charge attack on the ground, and you can even do charged dive attacks when you're in the air. Add to this that we still don't have armor skills. I really want to see what will happen when you put the focus skill into your build. Since focus allows you to charge attacks faster, it would be really cool to see that this can help you fire charged insects and do charged dive attacks almost seamlessly with a few points on this. I feel like in general, Capcom tried giving the Insect Glaive burst options when it never had any. If you don't like the feeling of spending your extracts, you still have a solid finisher to add to your kit with charge attacks. Charge attacks and Rising Spiral Slash are great additions because now you actually get to pop off when there's a topple or a stun on a monster, instead of having to repeat basically what you have been doing the whole hunt. Openings have more value to you, and if you plan accordingly by leaving some wounds open, you can spend all your resources in a huge damage combo and then recover them immediately after. And when I say immediately, I mean instantly. Check this out. You can do a Rising Spiral Slash and mid-air do a focus attack on a wound and you'll recover all your extracts. This is the interaction I was talking about. Capcom doesn't want you to feel afraid to use this move, and they are giving you the tools to enjoy the combat aspect of the weapon without having to worry too much about the resource management side. Heck, you can sometimes get lucky and get full extracts right after this attack. Also, Rising Spiral Slash is getting a lot of flack, but is really nobody excited to just destroy a Rathalos mid-air? Just completely slam them to the ground with all the damage you'll be doing? No? Nobody? I don't believe you. Next! People are saying that the control schemes are terrible. Yes! What, you thought I was going to disagree on everything with you guys? No! All the comments about the control scheme, with a controller of course, are absolutely right and very valid. I personally don't mind turning my hands into a fractal, but that doesn't mean that this is not a bad design. And to be fair, I'm not sure how they can fix this, because you'd have to sacrifice something somewhere. You know what? If I had to take anything away, it would probably be the classic way of getting extracts. With the new tools that Wilds is bringing, I don't see the point of having to do the old method anymore. Like, sure, it's nice to have it, but it's the one I use the least. Maybe we could make it so focus mode is your Kinsect aiming mode, and depending on what you press, you know, triangle, circle, or R1, you do a focus attack, a focus Kinsect attack, or you shoot the Kinsect. That way, you don't have to be going back and forth between aiming, focus mode, normal mode, etc. But that's just me. I don't really see how they can fix this. Now, let's talk about weapon identity. The truth is, I never thought of the Insect Glaive as a flying weapon, but instead as a tracking weapon. Let me elaborate. As much as it is fun to bounce around and to be constantly out of reach of the monster's attacks, hunting like this never made me feel like I was in control of the hunt. It was more like I was a fly, buzzing around and the monster was just trying to swat me away. I could hardly get any flinches on the monster. Breaking parts took forever and it was imprecise, and the hunt in general would extend more than I wanted it to. And look, I'm not saying that playing like this is wrong, not at all. The beauty of Monster Hunter is that people can approach fights in whichever way they want. But as I got better and better at the game, I did start to look for ways to make my hunts faster. And that means knowing how to optimize your damage and how to prioritize your part damage. Both things that the flying playstyle is not very good at. Even when I would run around spamming vertical slash and roundhouse slash, I still didn't feel like I was that good with the weapon. And that changed when I saw Canta per me. Obviously a master of his craft, and wouldn't you know it, a Glaive enjoyer. I was watching a speedrun of the event quest where you have to hunt 2 Rajangs. At first, it didn't seem like he was doing many different things from what I was doing, until I noticed that he was extremely comfortable just walking around. When I fight Rajang, I'm spamming dodge like it's Dark Souls, but he was just unfazed. I started to appreciate the advantage that is having the increased movement speed with the white extract. How much easier it is to position yourself correctly and to maneuver around the monster. And just as I was noticing it, this happened. This moment right here is what opened my eyes to a new perspective for this weapon. No matter how fast the monsters are, no matter how they move around or jump away, they are never out of your reach. Just look at the insane distance that this one leap covers. The way that Canta is chasing down this Rajang all over the arena is nuts. When faced with this situation, most weapons would have to sheath or spam roll to close the gap with the monster. Not Glaive. Once I understood this huge advantage, my playstyle changed completely. I started feeling like this rabid dog that could chase monsters wherever they went, and thus, the fantasy of the tracker started materializing in my mind. This became even more apparent when I played in group hunts. Anytime the monster would move away, I was the first to close the gap. And looking at the characters that use Glaive in the Monster Hunter universe, it kinda confirmed my theory even more. The Wyverian in World that has the Glaive? Tracker. The Butterfly Girl on the animated Monster Hunter movie? Tracker and researcher. The guy on the Monster Hunter 4 trailer? Tracking and luring a Tigrex. The idea that the insect Glaive is a tracker's weapon fits so well for me because it can also be compared to one of the oldest hunting weapons that humanity has ever had, the spear. And the way that humans would hunt with it was by chasing prey around for long distances. And no matter how much their prey would run, hunters could always catch up eventually. Insect Glaive is no different. It doesn't matter the terrain or the distance. Despite being a melee weapon, no monster can escape you. And when I applied this principle to my hunts, man, it felt a lot better to play Glaive. And so, this is my invitation. Give the insect Glaive an opportunity in Wilds. This part of its identity has not changed. And I really think you can enjoy the weapon a lot more if you look at it from a different perspective. A tracker's weapon. This became the identity of the insect Glaive to me, and it has given me so much fun that I hope you can also get to enjoy one day. Thank you very much for watching this video. I really want to know your thoughts about it, especially if this video gave you a more positive impression of the Glaive in Wilds. So leave a comment down below because I like reading and replying to those. As always, my name is Sun, and until next time.